You hear that noise? You know, it's not that cold outside. I'm in the garage and it's not that cold out. It's maybe 23 degrees or so. But we were getting a lot of fog lately, so it's damp and it's just, I am just so cold being out here. So I grabbed one of the little space heaters there and turned it on. Uh, so if you wonder what that noise is, that's what it is. I don't know if it's going to help too much, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, my hands are freezing, definitely. These are my Bumble Bee stoves. I've only built these two. This is the prototype. Amazingly enough, the first time that I lit this to test to see how long it'll burn, because I wasn't trying to boil water fast. I was trying to boil it for a long time, so that I could maybe make some flavored rice. You know, they like Knorr, Knorr. They make a lot of great different flavored rice, like cheese and broccoli, or Spanish rice as they call it, red beans and rice, that kind of thing, and they're really tasty. But you need to simmer them for about after it starts boiling. You need to be able to simmer it and cook it for about 7 to 9 minutes. And I wanted to have a nice little lightweight stove that was going to last long enough. And yeah, I know I could put extra fuel in there, and I do. But I wanted wanted it to last long enough so that it would be able to cook some of those, so that I don't have to go out and spend $5, $6, $7 on a dehydrated meal when I can spend 89 cents on one of those packets of food and only use half of it because there's so much in it. So that was the idea when I built this, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but the first time that I lit it up, and yeah, it wasn't 23 degrees out. This was maybe in September. Was that when I did this? No, it was in November, about mid-November. But the first time I lit it up, it boiled, or it flamed for 30 minutes. That was a long time. And that was with 2 ounces of fuel. The subsequent times it never approached that 30-minute, but it does go for 17, 20 minutes, right in that range. Same with this one. This is the one that I usually take with me whenever I go camping. I usually just leave this here, but I want to do some modifications. I think that because this is smooth, when I put a pot on here to cook, I think it kind of keeps that oxygen from getting in there. And I think that's why it takes, and I didn't mention this before, but I think that's why it takes sometimes 10 minutes for me to get a boil, even when the weather's kind of decent and warm. Today it's cold enough. I'll be messing around with it. We'll see how long it takes water to boil. But that's part of the change I'm trying to make here. So I thought that what I'll do, and I've been thinking about this for a few weeks, I just haven't done it. Take a nail and a hammer and put 3 vent holes in here. Maybe I can get some airflow and see the carbon felt inside there. And that's basically, gets filled with the fuel after you put it inside the pot stand. Here, let me get that back in there. And then it seeps through with the little vents down there. But another thing was, I didn't bring it out here with me, but I have a little Pathfinder school. It's like a little wood stove that you could put their canteen and coffee cup on top of, to boil some water up real quick. And it's about that big around, and it's got an opening. I noticed that when I put that around here, and so it raises it up off of there a little bit, it seems to work a little bit better. So keeping that in mind, I thought of something else that I wanted to change too. So we're going to get vent holes put in these, but I'm also thinking that maybe the pot stand is short enough that it keeps maybe the pot a little too close to the flame, and it also kind of snuffs it out a little bit. So I got another tomato paste can, and I'm basically going to add about a 1/2 inch to the height, and then put it in one of these. Probably I'll use the experimental one, the prototype. I'll probably put this in there to see how it works and try to boil something up and just see what those differences make. And then yes, I will put 3 vent holes in here too, just like I'm going to do to these, of course, and cutting in the 3 weep holes down at the bottom. So anyway, that's what I'm planning on doing. then stick around and let me go do some cutting and some hammering, and we'll go from there, okay? Alright, I sawed that this little can down, and now I'm taking my tin snips and kind of evening out the bottom a little bit so it'll sit inside of the Bumble Bee can a little better. No, it's not quite there. Take a little more off here. Then we'll sand it a little bit. Yeah, I think that is about as close as I'm going to get by eyeballing it. So let's just sand this a little bit. Okay, done with that modification. This is the prototype. This is what I was going to add the taller pot stand to. So let me pull this out of here. I do not JB weld these to the bottom just for this reason. So you can pull this out. If you wanted to change the carbon felt, you can change the carbon felt. But they seem to work just fine without them being welded in there. So this is the new pot stand. It's basically made out of the same thing. It's made out of a tomato paste can, and you can see the difference in the height. Let me tilt that back a little bit, maybe a ½ inch or so, maybe not even quite that. I thought that maybe it would be enough. I don't have great tools, cutting tools like saws and stuff like that for this sort of thing, so I really kind of have to use a hacksaw basically to get it started, and then get the end piece off, and then take my tin snips and kind of even it up. And sometimes, you know, I wind up taking off a little more than I really want to, and that may be the case here. But anyway, I use the tin snips also to cut these little vent holes here that are going to go down into the stove. Okay, but I also wanted to put vent holes in the pot stand, just to see if I could maybe get a little more oxygen flow. And what I did with that, I got this little paper punch for putting holes in, well, in these cans. And these are pretty thick, these Bumble Bee cans, but these cans, tomato paste cans, really aren't. And I used that to put these round vent holes in there, and it worked pretty well. That is going to go in there. And just kind of looking down inside, it looks pretty even in there. I'm not real worried about it being super flush, but it looks pretty good. So you can see now the difference in that one, and then the difference in the one that I usually use. So now it's a little bit higher. But I've also put vent holes in my go-to stove when I'm out hiking and stuff like that. So we're going to experiment with these and see what a difference they make. In the meantime, I got my new zebra billy pot the other day. Haven't used it yet. Just, you know, washed it. That was about it. So what I want to do is we're gonna use these to boil up some water. Not a lot, just enough to maybe make some ramen. And what I'm also going to do is, while that's going, I got a couple of eggs that I'm going to put in there, and while that water's boiling, we'll steam those eggs up. Now, just to kind of, so that we're all on the same page, this experiment about boiling this water on those stoves, I'm going to go out back to the pump and get water from it, and that water is going to be ice cold. It's not going to be frozen, but it's going to be super cold. So it'll be interesting to see with the vent holes and the higher stand how quickly it'll boil up. Now I just got to figure out, well, which one of these do I really want to use first? Which one do I want to experiment with? I'll figure that out and I'll come back, okay? Okay, I think we're pretty much set up. I got 2 cups of water in the billy pot. I got 2 cups of water in my canteen cup. I got 2 ounces of fuel in each of the stoves. Oh, by the way, this is the Pathfinder School little wood stove that I was talking about. And so since this is shorter and the billy pot is pretty big around, I decided that I'm going to grab this, set that billy pot on there. Ready? There we go. There that one goes. So they're both going. This guy over here, the one I take with me everywhere, just seems to have a nice, quiet, sweet little burn. This one over here is a little wild sometimes. Like it gets kind of out of control. I don't know why. I'm going to let that burn that new coating. There's a little bit of a coating in there, off a little bit, before I put the water on. It's just about done. Here. Put that on there. Alright, they're both sitting on the heat. Let's take a look at my old watch here, the old Timex. Can't even see, yeah. Get set up. Well, it is 2:31. Okay, here's the time now. It's 2:38-ish, give or take 30 seconds. And the old canteen cup. Is at a rolling boil. So that worked pretty good. So what are we talking about there? About 7 minutes? Get that going, that's pretty good. I'm going to take the pot off the fire, put the lid on there, and we'll just see how long that burns. Now when it comes to the old billy pot, which is kind of quiet, which, you know, that seems to be how this stove seems to be, is quiet. Let's take a look inside there. It's getting there. It's about ready to boil, I bet, within about a minute or so. Oh, and look what I did. The very first time I used my pot, I melted that little plastic piece. Well, the zebra pot is now boiling, and it's about 2 minutes past the the canteen cup when it was boiling, so about 9 minutes for a boil, and it's boiling good. Take this off without burning myself. Yeah, it's doing good. Alright, both pots are still going, or both stoves I should say. It's been about 17 minutes since we lit them. These have been going for, let's see if I can remember, maybe 6 minutes. The eggs, I mean. Getting there. They smell like eggs. Not quite cooked enough for me. So we're just going to let them go. Looks like that little guy right there about ready to burn out. Hey, do you guys ever go on the channel Multi-Tool School? Dee's got a real good channel there. If you ever want to know anything about, well, any kind of tool really, not necessarily a multi-tool, he's got info on there, and I'm sure that if you ask him any questions and in the comments, that he'll answer you. He's a good guy. Dee did a video on, I think it was modifying a Mora. That isn't a new video. It might be a month. It could be a year old. I don't know. But I was watching it the other day, and he said that something that kind of struck me. And what he said was, to kind of paraphrase, that if you're doing modifications, especially on your bushcraft stuff, that it's just not quite the same unless you use a multi-tool. And I kind of had to laugh out loud, because I don't use my multi-tool as much as I should and that I'd like to. But I think I will on this particular project. Dee, thanks for the tip, buddy. Oh, what a great idea that was. Just want to say something before I sign off on this video. When I started doing these bushcraft videos, and I think it's been about 3 months now, of course when you start out you don't even know if anybody's ever going to watch or pay any attention, and I've been fortunate enough that people have, and they seem to like what I do, and I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe it's just a new, unfamiliar voice. Maybe because I have a different take on some things that people do, or at least they see it that way. Because I've said it before, I'll say it again. I usually don't think outside the box too much. So whatever you guys see from me is usually stuff that other people have done. So that makes me appreciate even more that people watch. But I went on Native Survival channel the other day, Mitch, who runs that channel, and he put a video out that he broke 1 million views, and I thought that was pretty impressive. I mean, I know people do break 1 million views. They break 1 million subscribers sometimes, depending on what the venue of the videos are. And I was thinking that, gosh, I don't even know if I would ever even break 1,000 views. And I never really thought about that when I first started doing this. But I had some free time recently, and I threw together some videos, and all of a sudden started getting a lot more views, and I broke 1,000. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but it meant a lot to me. So, and it's gotten even beyond that. I'm just close to 1,200, I think, now. Just in the last week, it's gone from 980 or 975, 965 to about 1,200 views. So that's been a lot of fun for me, and I just wanted to say thank you for all you guys' support and for watching my videos, and for giving me your comments and your views and your questions, and maybe even most of all, requesting more. I don't always have a lot of free time, but I do now at the moment. So I will definitely try to put more videos together, and hopefully you guys will watch. But listen, I appreciate you guys watching. I really do. And for all the little tips that I get from you out there. You guys have a good day, and I'll see you again.